Good to begin. Yep. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Environmental and Sustainability Policy Advisory Committee meeting for February 12th. Thanks everyone for joining in. The first item of business is the roll call, which the chair is already, or the clerk has already made, but just for the purposes, there's a few new faces around. So if we just want to do a quick round of introductions, just say who you are, and if you're a member of the public or you're representing a city department, feel free. Lee, did you want to start? Just go around the room, and then we'll go on to the.
Yep, no,
call.
Lee Lawrence, I'm a health safety sustainability professional in private sector. It's a Brantford resident for years and years and years.
Derek Hewitt, from the public from Brantford.
Sandra Bigger, I'm a citizen of Brantford as well, lived here my whole life.
I'm Sue Brocklebank. I'm the new climate change officer. I started here at the city January 5th.
Alicia Korslak, I am the supervisor of sustainability and support. So we're excited to have Sue as our team, and we can join you guys and help out with the committee.
Selvi Conguera, Commissioner of Public Works. Again, we're excited because you have a new team of staff here supporting ESPAC now.
Councillor Mandy Stanwell, one of the councillors on this.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, my name is David Kilstra. I'm an environmental planner with Stantec, and newly in the role of chair again. Looking forward to getting to know all of you, the new faces, and the rest of the team as well. We'll go to the screen there. Andy, did you want to start?
Hi, I'm Andy Streishold, a member of the committee for a while now and former chair.
Eric?
Hi, everybody. Eric Melton, manager of the Sustainability Office at Wilfrid Laurier University. I'm representing the Brantford campus.
Yeah. Taylor?
Hi folks, Taylor here. I've been on SPAC now for a couple of years, and I'm joining virtually today.
Thanks. And there's one other Brantford panelist. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sorry about that. Rod Philpott, citizen at large and a relative newcomer.
Well, welcome everyone. Okay, proceeding with the agenda, we've got declarations of conflict of interest. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest for any of the items we're discussing on the agenda today? Okay, seeing none. There are no presentations or delegations on the agenda tonight. We do have two items for consideration though. May I please have a mover and a seconder to place the SPAC budget on the floor for discussion for 2026. Councillor? Lee? Yeah, thanks. Okay. Is there any overview of the budget at all, or anything you would like to say about it before we look at it in general? I know it was in the agenda package, but did you want to speak to it at all?
Yes, I can give a quick brief. Sure. Yeah, so for this report 2026-83, there is $5,000 available to the SPAC committee that's been in the budget from the city's operating budget since 2020. And this budget for the committee is available for a variety of different initiatives for what you'd like to pursue. So it could be to promote environmental initiatives or outreach and education, or doing tree plantings, or pursuing some other materials you'd like to provide to the public. So in the past, this committee has funded a variety of these options. So they have supported, or you have supported, the residential tree giveaway. You've also supported a mini forest, in fact, 2 mini forests. One went in 2025. The purchase of some promotional materials to give away to people when we're trying to engage with them with the climate action survey, things like that. And some other sort of community outreach and engagement approaches, having a booth at various events, things like that. In discussion with the forestry department, it was noted that of all the various options, the residential tree giveaway is the one that wouldn't be able to source funding from other sources. So when you consider some of the other things like the mini forest, that was able to bring in some money from the Brant Tree Coalition last year. When it came to some other sort of outreach and communication products, that is able to be done a little bit in-house with what Brantford is able to do. So it seemed like if the committee were to consider it, the residential tree giveaway without having any other funding source wouldn't be able to run unless this committee were able to support it. So that's why the staff recommendation is for your consideration to support a residential tree giveaway in 2026 with your $5,000 budget.
Is there any discussion from the group on this initiative?
So I just had a question. So completely understanding that you're saying that the tree giveaway wouldn't happen without the support of this committee. But I did wonder, previously we talked about climate action plan kind of toolkit and everyday kind of, you know, things that people can do at home. And it was talked about this committee would be helping to create that. Is that something that has funding otherwise? Is that something that we're going to do anyways, regardless of the money within this committee?
If I could jump in, Councillor. So this year we are still working on combining corporate and community plan. So what we thought was this year tree giveaway is there's a lot of public interest in tree, especially in the spring. So the tree giveaway would be a better project for this year. Next year we'll have the plan finalized. The committee would have seen the plan by then, and then we could pick what the toolkit we could use into next year budget.
So we're not going to create any kind of toolkit at this point. It's all the plan is redone.
Yeah. So we know what's exactly in the plan, what we could kind of go hand in hand.
All right, thank you.
I would not like to see this money go to tree planting. Waste of time, waste of money. Most people plant the trees in the wrong spot. They either die or we have to go down and cut them down because they put them under hydro lines. And as much as people think trees create all this oxygen and take CO2, they really don't. Most of our oxygen comes from water and algae in the water. So I'm sure there's better ways we could spend this money.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so that's valid comment. I do have a question though. It just made me think of if we do the tree giveaway, because that is something that was very popular and a lot of people, they anticipate it, they wait for it, and they're like, I'm gonna get a tree, they're waiting for it. Can we do some education around where to plant it, things like that, so that it is successful? Because I do know that we need to build our tree canopy, that's important. But with the points that were just made over there, if that's the case, like we need to make sure that they survive as well. So that's my thought. I
have some thoughts on that too. Let's see if there's any other comment.
How was it decided who gets the trees?
First come, first serve.
That did you want to speak to that or?
Yes,
Like,
I
do
can
they
respond.
apply for it? Is there an application form? No.
It's a registration that opens up, and it is first come, first serve.
How much publicity is out there for it?
It's promoted through, I think, traditional channels, so through social media. The media release that goes out to promote Earth Day, so it'll talk about the community tree planting, the litter cleanup, and then the free tree giveaway.
Okay.
And then it's available on our webpage too if people are looking for it. If they've done it before and are looking for another tree, or if they've heard about it and they're sort of searching it out.
Okay.
From what I've heard, it's pretty popular. It tends to sell out, or not sell out, but you know, like all the trees are used, right? Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. And it's a residential program that this would be funding, not the regular tree things related to Earth Day. It's a residential, like individual properties can. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure we're talking about the right thing. Okay, Andy, do you want to?
Yeah, sorry. I missed the preamble, but I just want to go back for a moment to, I think, Taylor, David, you, me, and there was one more other member who was around when Carly Sortis was around. And, you know, I want to ask through the chair to the officials that are there, there are multiple competing programs for trees. Like I know that I sit on the environment committee for Afternoon Rotary, and their environment committee works with Chuck Beach to get a whole bunch of trees and plants. So for those of us who maybe want to save some money, is there a mechanism that the city can coordinate with Chuck Beach, with Rotary, with others who are in the tree planting space to save us some money, but at least it's a coalition of all of us environmental friendly people to do it? Because it goes back to the tradition when Carly was around and when Chuck Beach was around and other members were there, that the tree planting was a popular thing and it was a signature of our committee.
Through you, Chair, it is coordinated with the Chuck Beach, so any tree planting for the year. So we work with him to see what he wants to do, part of the mini forest, and what the city wants to do from canopy and part of the tree giveaway. So the tree giveaway goes on the private side, like on the private properties. Where with the Chuck Beach, we work on the public side, like the city properties, where public can participate in an event. So it is coordinated.
Because if someone could, sorry, I didn't want to take away from Taylor, but if someone could reach out to Rotary, they have for years been trying to reach SPAC and others and to try to coordinate their efforts as well. And I know that they usually get every year grant funding from TD Bank for that specific project. So I think it would be smart to save our dollars and work with them as well as others in the community. Sorry, back to you guys.
Taylor, did you want to have a comment?
Yeah, for the resident tree giveaway, so I think we're talking about two different programs right now, private and public. For the private giveaway, I have seen firsthand many years these trees like sell out within like a couple of minutes. And with ASPAC's funding, they've been able to do additional tree giveaways. But I also would not be opposed to exploring putting the funds into a public project instead. In the case of the mini forest, which I've attended the plantings in the city for the mini forest, those are much more controlled in where they're being located, the distance that they're being planted, and they're monitored differently. Whereas with the residential trees, it's really just up to residents to come and pick them up, to plant them, to maintain them, to make sure that they've gone into the right spot. So I'm also not opposed to looking on the public side and even look at funding another mini forest as suggested in the report.
Thanks, Taylor. So in terms of the budget last year, I did some digging into what we decided on last year. And last year we had divided the 5,000 into 1,000 for marketing materials. It ended up being for the Green ER awards, Greener awards last year. Now it doesn't have to be that this year, but there was 1,000 for that, and then 4,000 for microforest, and then one of the counselors, I think Counselor Sullivan, asked for additional funding for the budget for last year as well for a microforest. So did we fund 2 microforests last year? Just
So through the chair, yes,
clarify,
last year,
yeah,
based on
okay.
the additional funding that came through from council approval,
Yeah.
we did support one tree giveaway as well as one microforest.
Okay. So part of ours was for a tree giveaway, and then there was funding for the microforest as well.
And that additional funding was just for the 1 year.
Okay, yes, right. So we're back to 5,000, like standing for this budget. Okay. Is there any other discussion on how to use the fund? Oh, Eric?
I just wanted to find out, was trees the only option? I know with the Laurier campus grounds, for example, we don't have a lot of green space for to put any trees, so we're focusing on enhancing or planting more pollinators. These may be easier to maintain and are more likely to thrive with less watering, less monitoring. Is that something that's been explored as a capacity?
We'd have to look into that through the chair. We would have to look into that possibility and speak with our forestry team to see what possibilities and capabilities they have for that.
So I'm hearing from the group, if I can kind of paraphrase, and feel free to correct me if you're not hearing, is there's some reluctance for funding tree giveaways entirely, right? And then there's some view on possibly some marketing related materials or promotional materials, but then also some support for the microforest still, as something a little bit more controlled and an option to focus the money a little bit more, right? I wonder if there's appetite for splitting this up a little bit, so we're funding microforest so that all the budget is not going to that, but also some promotional material. Or the other option would be possibly looking into like pollinator, like to split it up, just to not put all our eggs in one basket, so to speak. Just putting that to the group to discuss. Counselor? Sure.
Okay, could somebody just clarify, earlier you were talking about the fact that the microforest is something that could be funded another way, if we didn't choose that option. So can you speak to that a little bit more, so we have that information as part of our consideration?
Yes, through the chair, as people have mentioned, there is a partnership with Chuck Beach and the Brant Tree Coalition. I am aware that our forestry department is already working on the next microforest for 2026. It's going to be an expansion of the existing Homedale microforest. To my knowledge, they do already have funding for that project in 2026.
And if I could add to that in making the decision, the public side, we have funding sources and we are able to plan, but on the private side, there's no way CD has the ability to encourage and increase the tree canopy. Without the private side, it's hard to reach our target of 40% or even 25% that we talked about. So we do need the private side properties, like planting trees, and the giveaways are a way to promote that. I'll give that as a point to consider.
Lee, did you have your hand up? Or?
No, I just did have a question around the final point, just on the 500 to 2,000 on the outreach and engagement for the climate action plan. Just where that was sitting, like what were your thoughts around that?
Sorry, for the outreach.
Yeah, and engagement with the climate action plan. Just what would the thoughts be there in diverting funds away just from trees into that?
So, sorry, through the chair, I'm not trying to follow. So this is the funding for climate change action plan. Maybe is that what Councillor mentioned about the tool?
Yeah, so the final bullet point in the proposal.
Oh, the toolkit piece, yeah. So I've suggested that the toolkit be considered for next year. This year, we're going to be focusing on climate change action plan, combining corporate and community climate change action plans. So it would be good to kind of take all that information and prepare a toolkit for next year. And this year, the focus could be on tree planting.
So that's 11 months out for sure. Like there's no need to hold back. Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. Taylor?
I'm just curious, when does this decision need to be made? And my second question would be, is there an opportunity to go back and explore a potential pollinator option before we make a decision?
Through the chair, because of the timeline, it gets hard, but we could go back to our forestry department, get their feedback. Now, are we talking about private properties or public property?
That's a good question.
So there are programs, just to name a few, like the butterfly
Yes.
gardens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that's one that comes to mind. There's the Eco Grounds in the area probably has some pollinator habitat as well. I've seen some around some of their plantings. There are community groups in Brantford that do this kind of stuff. I know there's also a food forest, so I think there are groups that this funding might be useful for. If we chose to allocate a portion of this funding to that
Just to
cause.
be clear, that wasn't the direction I was going in. I just have a conflict of
okay.
interest there. I'm the employee for Equal Ground, so I am quite familiar with like the on the ground um items done by community groups. I think I was looking more towards like municipality responsibility in the parks, the parks that the horticulture departments work with. I know they're doing a good effort on trying to flip things to a lot of pollinators. So just wondering if anything could be done in the way of that.
Oh, as a municipal initiative
Yeah.
rather than to funding a community group. Okay, thanks. Thanks for clarifying, Taylor. Is there an associated municipal program for pollinator habitat that this could be tacked onto? Following up on Taylor's.
Through the chair, we have to reach out to the forestry group.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we're catching up, so we're
That's fine.
fully aware.
Yeah.
So I know the city supports the groups. I don't think we have any full-blown program. The other piece of information I want you to consider too is that for $5,000, we get 400 trees.
Approximately.
Yeah, so if you split the money, the city is going to make an announcement, promote social media and everything. People are usually not happy, here you promote it and you have so little number of trees. It's all gone. I mean, they were not happy last time, like the trees were given away in such a short order. So something to take into account when you're splitting money, if you keep registering or asking and then you're not getting, the interest is going to fall off. So something to keep in mind.
Several years ago, there was a program of a water-free garden. Was that a city program? Was that promoted through the city or was that promoted through this group?
Through the chair, it was a xeriscape gardening that the city promoted for a long time. I think you are referring to that, the xeriscape gardening.
You got to begin with, you got a plaque. And then the next thing was you got a sign.
Yeah, that is the water-wise gardening.
Yes, water-wise gardening. Yes.
So the city did, I think in 2003 or 4, we started the program. So for more than one, quite a number of years, we promoted that program. That was the city water conservation program.
Mm-hmm. So that would have been through a different branch than this particular branch.
Not through ESPAC, it's the city program.
Okay.
I think your point about it not being a lot of money is valid. Like it's not a lot to work with. I think maybe what some of the group members are wrestling with is the fact that we've tree planted 2-3 years now in a row. Like we've done this already. Part of the reason we have a budget allocated to SPAC is for the advocacy portion as well, the sustainability. And if we're doing the same cause every year, I think there's maybe more that could be done about it. And I think that's maybe where the hesitation might be coming from. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think that's maybe.
To you, Chair, one option
yeah.
maybe you can skip a year, right? You can skip tree planting this year and do it next year if you feel strongly about another initiative. That way you go full on whatever. But again, I'm just throwing it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Consideration.
Okay, I think we've probably chatted about it enough. Do we want to treat it as one lump sum, or do we want to consider it as something we want to split up? I guess that's kind of the first, just taking the pulse of the room, and then otherwise, if it's treated together, then we've already got a resolution on the floor there for funding like the free tree giveaway. But I just wanted to ask if we're looking to split it or keep it together.
Split it.
You want to split it partially? Yeah. Anyone concerned with splitting it?
I think we need to
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to say. I mean, last the last time we reserved 1,000 for marketing purposes, which we could later allocate instead to another initiative or so maybe we do something similar this time with 4,000 towards the tree planting and then reserve 1,000 for future consideration, either advocacy or pursuing this pollinator promotional materials or the like. So that way we're still contributing to the tree planting, but we have a little bit of room to work with. So that would be a 4,000 split for the tree, promoting the tree canopy, tree giveaway, and then 1,000 remaining in the budget or to look at further. Okay, I'm not hearing anyone opposed, so that I would request to the clerk that we amend that budget item, that 4,000 be allocated to the fall free tree giveaway, and that 1,000, I don't know how you want to phrase it, but 1,000 to remain in the budget for future SPAC consideration this year, something along those lines.
Where
Yes,
are the
sure.
2 microforests?
That's a good question. Which ones were funded last year?
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
There's the Homedale Park one, that was planted several years ago, and that's planned for expansion this year.
Mhm.
And then the Devon Down Park one was done last year.
Okay.
I just had a question around how the locations are chosen, microforests.
Through the chair, that was our forestry department looked at different locations, and there are special requirements for a microforest. So the site has to be suitable for that. So we don't want it, the bigger area for a tree canopy is suitable. That's not the location chosen for microforest. It's usually more organized area, a small piece of land where suitable environment exists for microforest. So that was chosen for tree.
I was just curious in regards to the microforest at Homedale, and now it's being expanded instead of having another one somewhere else. That's why I was kind of wondering how the location got chosen.
Yeah, we can find out more in depth. I'm thinking that last year they didn't finish off what's needed. There's still available.
Are we discussing on amendment yet or no?
I think he's crafting the amendment. Oh, mover and seconder. Okay. Can we get a mover and a seconder on that amendment? We've got Taylor and Rod. Okay, Rod, thank you. Okay. I think we can call the vote. Oh, we want to discuss it?
Yeah,
Sure.
I just wanted to make a comment. I completely understand why we're looking at doing this way. I do have some concerns about how many trees we're going to be able to provide and the disappointment that there might be. And I also feel a little bit uncomfortable with not knowing what we're kind of thinking about doing with the rest of the money as far as this goes. That's
Okay,
just my comment.
that's a fair point. Lee?
Would it help your comfort if we were to say hold back allocation for marketing and advocacy or something like that to be determined future?
or possibly more focused on that pollinator issue that did come up,
Something like
right? So policy and advocacy around creating pollinator habitat. Like then it's a little bit more tied to something if that might address that concern or.
Yeah, everybody's looking at me.
Sorry, I don't mean to put the comment on.
I think depending on what people wanted to do in the sense that with the desire to split it and what you guys were thinking of doing, and I just think like having more direction to what we're thinking of doing with it, instead of just pulling that money out of the trees and then maybe it sits there. So I guess that's my thought.
Okay.
Because I don't want to not have enough trees and also just have the money sitting there.
Okay.
When's the tree giveaway?
It will be in the fall.
Oh,
Yes.
so why don't we put it that we hold back the $1,000, and if we haven't come up with somewhere else to take that $1,000 by fall, then the $1,000 goes to the trees.
I do have a little bit of concern with either or, just in terms of we have that municipal election and then we won't get a chance to to commit the money, right? So which is also to your point, we don't want it to go to waste, right? So
Through the chair, we could combine with the spring. Funding, and because people are running, there isn't enough money to cover everybody, so we could combine and have it all in the spring if you want.
okay. Yeah. Oh, we got three hands up. Taylor first.
I would like we're sitting here talking about how are we going to label this last 1,000. I would be interested in hearing at our next meeting about different pollinator initiatives that might benefit from it. Again, that sounds like it's probably going back to the horticulture team to see what they have going on and where this money could be placed. I agree that just leaving it out in the open, it's probably going to get forgotten about, especially as we all get busy through the summer. So that would be my suggestion, but I also agree to Councillor Sandwell's point that not having some sort of function for the remainder or at least direction is a bit of a problem.
Eric?
Yes, thank you. My comment was actually originally referring to on Laurier's side, we do pollinator capacity provided to students, staff, and faculty because they're cheaper. So intentionally, they're smaller. You can buy more of them. You can grow them. There's more likely for them to succeed. So it's not necessarily that it needs to be decided. It's almost like the intent was, if you give $4,000 worth of trees, you could give $1,000 worth of pollinators. You don't know what they are yet. They can be small plants. They can be seeds. They can be kits to be able to put away. That money can go farther and reach more people to address that gap of people being disappointed that they didn't get something that they were able to get as a registration item. So that was only the original suggestion. It wasn't to create more allocation of that money somewhere else. So it doesn't have to go to a program or a project.
Did we lose someone? Councillor?
So I just had a question in regards to when would we be able to find out about pollinators? How soon could that happen? And if it's our next meeting, when is that? Because we don't meet every single monthly. So
Through the chair, we're meeting quarterly, which means May. So I think for today is the first tree giveaway.
Yeah,
April, right? Yeah, so around Earth Day is the tree giveaway. So the decision is made today, then we want to do it in the spring, we could, otherwise we push it to fall. There is time, so if you want to do it in the fall, then we could get more information from the horticulture group, email it to you. Or you consider everything in the May for the fall event. So that's the motion.
through the chair,
Sure.
I think that Taylor's suggestion about, or everybody else's suggestion about maybe earmarking it for pollinators and just trusting that we're gonna be able to offer some options for that would be what I would prefer to see happen. And then if it, in the same way you said, if we find out we can't do the pollinators, then we can roll it over into trees. I think that would be what I would prefer to see happen, because that does feel like the group would prefer not to do all trees, so.
Yeah, I think I think what your suggestion, if I'm paraphrasing, is that, we provide a bit of time for the next meeting to have those options put towards the group, and then, the fallback is the tree. option.
Yeah, but like changing the amendment now though, to say pollinate, like for pollinators.
Okay.
Or pollinator projects, so that way it's already labeled and that way, and staff can go forward and figure out what those options for us to pick from would be.
Yes,
Is that good?
I would agree with that then. How do we go about adjusting the language there? Can we add something?
We're gonna make an amendment to the amendment.
Did I just make an amendment to their amendment?
Yes, I just need some clarity on what we've decided on.
So I think it's that allocation of the 1,000 would be that.
Deemed for pollinator plant projects.
Mhm.
And barring that not being feasible in a timely manner, then the $1,000 gets rolled to the fall tree planting.
And I guess in addition is the staff input into that process. So the 1,000 is deemed for pollinator plant project
Be advised by.
to be advised by staff at the next meeting.
So I just had a procedural question. Can we, because our meeting is gonna be late, it's gonna be late compared to the tree giveaway and all of that. Can we be shared ideas about what the opportunities for pollinator projects are by email, and then we all reply about our preference, or no? Or can we have a special meeting that, not that everybody wants another meeting?
Through the chair, we're unable to circulate it that way, just the way of conducting business. That's not in a open and transparent way. Although meetings are at the discretion of the chair. So if the chair would like to convene a meeting, we can facilitate that.
I guess the other option is a fall tree giveaway, and then we don't have any issue with that.
Through the chair, we're gonna be running into the election. We do
Yeah,
not
I
have a
know,
lot
that's
of time to
another
get
issue.
this done. The election will be in October. And so that means one meeting that we're planning on having quarterly, we probably won't have. Because there'll be a whole new group of maybe counselors, maybe not. But there'll be a lot of activity going on then that may preclude a lot of the options that we want to implement.
Do we really care? Just put the $1,000 towards pollinator and we will trust the staff that they will make that money worthwhile.
Sure. Taylor?
Can we just get some clarification? There's a tree giveaway every year that is unrelated to what we're talking about. That happens in the spring. So there's going to be a tree giveaway no matter what. The discussion that we're having is about the funding of a second giveaway in the fall. I have that correct, right?
So there's another
That's
tree.
how it's been in previous years. There's already a spring tree giveaway that's planned and funded through other resources. This is a secondary giveaway.
Through the chair, if I could suggest, if you're okay with it fall being election and all that, we could do it in the spring. You just give direction or say that we would use in the spring for the trees and pollinators. everything and staff will come up with a program like, our members.
Well, I imagine, oh, through the chair, sorry. I imagine in terms of the pollinators, it's kind of a specific specialized thing that they would have to sort of designate when would be a good time to give them away, because you don't want to put pollinators in the fall and have them not survive the winter.
So I think the suggestion is then that we. Oh, sorry. Thinking 2 steps ahead. Taylor?
I just want to clarify that pollinators actually usually go in the fall, if that makes a difference. That's a fall activity. That's not a spring activity.
Okay.
I know that doesn't help with the election, but just for context.
So I think we would amend it so that the $1,000 is to be allocated based on a staff recommendation at the next meeting. I think you have that in there. Close, yeah. Yeah, and then you have the 4,000 already in there. That's because it's not it was already in the earlier version, right? Okay. You want to read it back to us so we know what we're voting on?
Okay, right now we're gonna be voting on the amendment to the amendment. So, which is that 1,000 be allocated for a staff recommendation to be presented at the next SPAC meeting.
Related to the pollinator, a pollinator project.
I'll read it again and then you just need to move it.
Sure. Yeah.
That 1,000 be allocated for a staff recommendation to be presented at the next SPAC meeting regarding pollinator plant project.
So a mover and seconder. Yeah. And Eric. Okay, we can vote on that. All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? I'm assuming now we vote on the full version. Just procedural wise to make sure we're doing it the right way.
Now we're gonna vote on the amendment.
Okay, now we're gonna vote on the amendment, which is the allocation of the 4,000 versus the 1,000. Okay, so do we need to do a mover and a second? I think it was already moved and seconded, right? So we're just doing the vote.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, we can read it again. Sure.
Just gonna read, but the amendment was A, that 1,000 be diverted from the budget for future SPAC consideration, which you've now earmarked for plant pollinator project, and B, that the balance of the budget be allocated for the fall free tree giveaway.
Okay. So now we can do the vote. All in favor? None opposed? Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, we're voting on it as amended now. Okay, we'll do one more vote there. All in favor? All opposed? Any opposed? Okay, carried. Thank you, everyone. Okay, the next item is the 2026 Greener Awards promotional campaign that the report has received. Do you want to give an overview?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm sure this committee is aware that year after year there have been Green Environmental Recognition Awards since 2013. There are several categories available for these awards: Lifetime Achievement, Green Nonprofit, Green Business, Greenest Family, Environmental Volunteer, and Young Environmental Champions, both for elementary school age and secondary school age students. The nominations are accepted year-round. The communications plan has not been initiated yet to promote it, but would include social media posts, media release, website updates, and direct emailing to the school boards to connect with some of those teachers that lead clubs and things like that that could help nominate some of our young champions. Let's hope that the SPAC members would also maybe leverage your social network to help like and share posts that the city has, or spread the word of mouth for this award, for these awards. Nominations would be open until Earth Week. The idea being that it would be top of mind for people engaging in those type of activities. And then any nominations would come forward to this meeting, the next meeting planned in May. And any selected winners would then be acknowledged at the city council meeting after that.
Okay. Any discussion on? Oh, mover and a seconder on that initiative. Counselor? And Andy, see, waving at me. Okay, any discussions on this topic? Counselor?
So I just had a question about what the response has historically been like, say, for instance, last year for the submissions. If that's the general way that we advertise it, has there been much uptake?
Yes, last year, sorry, through the chair, last year there were 3 winners, I believe. And I believe there were 2 or 3, 2 the previous year. I believe last year, and I didn't go any further back than that. Last year, all the nominations were confirmed by this committee. So they all fell into different categories and they were all winners.
So everybody won? Sorry,
I believe so. That's all I was able to find. Knowing I've only been here 6 weeks.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
could only
clarify.
find
because I
3
just wondered
applications.
Like how many applications are coming in, and it should be trying to figure out a way to promote it more so that there's more applications, I guess, was what I was thinking about. That's part of my question.
Through the chair, I mean, unless they commission the file, sometimes I apologize for a new team coming in, not knowing fully what happened. So we could always talk to our communications department and see, other than social media, and more ways how it can be promoted without costing us to do that. We could work through economic development, so tourism, they could reach out to businesses. So we could figure out different ways to reach out to the public so we get more nominations. I'm just wondering if you may remember from last time how you selected, if you know how many you considered.
From my scant knowledge, just remind, like off the top of my head, I think we had at least one that was a competitive category last year. So there was more than, it wasn't just who, we had at least one that was a competitive category. So, but we can.
Just in addition to that, so you mentioned the schools, and what grades did you say? Sorry.
Through the chair, there's an elementary category and a secondary category, so they are separate.
Okay. So I just wanted to just making sure that that's inclusive of maybe older ages as well. Helpful. Okay, yeah, reaching out to the communications. I don't know if there's opportunities to include it in the things that go in the water bill or any of those things, but I didn't know if that's an option or if that is a big cost to us.
That's great. Oh, I thought I did see a hand.
Taylor says, but I don't see it.
Okay.
She's like,
No hand. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned the water bill. That was one I was going to suggest, because I've seen some about leaky pipes and other things that go out. Yeah, I think definitely opportunities to increase the volume of applicants would be great. Can you remind me if there's a secondary, a post-secondary, category, or Like, is it something that someone in the group, such as a Wilfrid Laurier University representative, might be able to share how it might be promoted at the post-secondary level? Eric, did you want to speak to that maybe?
Yeah, I actually had a question related, somewhat related, but promoting it shouldn't be a difficulty. So getting it to our communications team to be able to cross promote that, if it's to reach people in Brantford and to reach people in the community, we can amplify that for sure. As a winning recipient for the Green Business of the Year, I think we actually won in 2023. I submitted that award. My question was actually related to, does it help to have a deadline? Because it really pushed us to prepare for that. This one being open-ended, you're going to get people all throughout the year. The non-competitiveness is going to be the result of that because you're not putting it towards everybody needs to get it in by this date. Did that change in the last iterations, or has it always been open-ended? And then just the window that we applied into in 2023, that actually had a deadline. And so that's why I was wondering when did that change?
Through the chair, I believe that past marketing has indicated a deadline. So looking back last year, there was a deadline of around April 17th, I believe, for people to get their nominations in.
Did I hear if there was social media pushes as well included in it? It is, yeah, okay. And that's good. Is there an opportunity through the existing platforms or like I think it's Let's Talk Brantford? I think I'm getting the name right. Is that an opportunity to promote it? I know it's more like survey related sometimes material, but is there an opportunity to put something on there that can link people to the application forms, for instance?
Through the chair, that's not the platform usually used, like that's mostly like you said, surveys and getting feedback. But the city has communication channels and other than social media through website, and so we can work with our communication department to see, and other city departments like tourism and everybody and BIA. There are many groups and Chamber of Commerce. So there are many groups that exist where they all have newsletters, so we could spread the information.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thanks for clarifying on that one. It sounds good that in terms of that the communications department is going to be getting involved, so no concerns. Any other comments? Not seeing any. So I believe we can call the vote now on this item. All in favor? None opposed? And that's carried. We'll now move on to consent items. So one item on the agenda, which is the minutes for December 17th. So can I have a mover and a seconder to place that on the floor? Andy. Rod. Thank you. And any discussions or errors or omissions in the minutes? No, not seeing any. Okay, so we can do a vote then. All in favor of carrying the minutes? And that's carried. There are no resolutions, there's no notice of motion, and as a result, the meeting is now adjourned. The next meeting is scheduled for May 14th, 2026. Thank you everyone for joining in today. Appreciate it.
The awards presented? Or you said in April?